motherfucker. The ballers in the building. Tell them something they don't know. Tell them something they don't know. Tell them something they don't know. Give a fuck about your feelings unless you tell them something they don't know.
Yo, what's happening? Noders, geeks and spiders. It's Evil, the West Side's evil twin. Today we're looking at how to use and spam Twitter with vvvv using my new Evvvvil Tweet Engine plugin. I wrote this plugin in C# using the Tweet Engine C# API. It's actually more than just a plugin. It's a total Twitter API to v4 bridge. It's a bit of a Twitter spamming robot as well. Anyway, let's take a look at the main Evvvvil Tweet Engine patch. So this engine is made out of 3 plugin nodes, and first we got the Evvvvil Tweet Logger node, which basically takes care of the whole Twitter authorization login. It's also, you can get a bunch of geolocalization coordinates according to a vague address. Secondly, we have the Evvvvil Tweet Search node. This takes care of the whole Twitter search. So you can search for hashtags or even just a word here. And you can also control what kind of data you get back from the search. You can also do time specific searches here. So you can get tweets before or after a particular date. You can also do geolocalization search and get tweets within a radius of a particular latitude and longitude. Also, you can ignore retweets, keep storing result kind of in a queue, and there's a tweet selection module I'll talk about. Finally, we got the Evvvvil Tweet Action node, which is for all the Twitter post action. So it's for everything like posting tweets, favoriting tweets, retweeting tweets, or even replying to tweets. Now this node is the real evil one, my brothers, because you can feed it all the result from the Evvvvil Search node, and then with the machine gun mode you can favorite, retweet or reply to every single result in one click. It even poses for a certain interval plus a random number to trick Twitter sniffing robots. So you can see how this could be used to spam Twitter. Anyway, so these 3 plugin nodes basically make the whole Evvvvil Tweet Engine, and this patch is putting them all 3 nodes together in context. Okay, so as you can see, it's a very beautiful patch. You could tell I went to art school, innit? It's only fair it's that beautiful. Nah, actually mate, I didn't go to art school. I was way too busy trying to grow a moustache and some long flowing hair like Pedro. Yeah bro, Pedro is back. He's put on a little weight, but fuck man, he got himself a sweet ride. We went out on Saturday and all the women were throwing themselves at Pedro, all due to his overflowing mullet and his sweet as fuck ride. To be honest, we were in East London, so all the hipsters were also throwing themselves at Pedro, but he was having none of it. He's not a fan of shit tattoos, skinny jeans and boating shoes, unless you're a fucking pirate. But none of them were. Yeah, you know, none of them were fucking pirates. Anyways, fuck Pedro, let's do this Twitter thing. So Twitter in v4, Twitter's changed its API in the last few years and have made it much more difficult to talk to the API, as there's now a strict authorization process in place. So to use this plugin, you'll need some Twitter application credentials, which you get from dev.twitter.com by creating an application associated with your Twitter account. So first, let's go to twitter.com and log in as a normal Twitter user. Once logged in, I'll go to dev.twitter.com and I'll scroll down to manage your apps and then click on create new app. Enter your app name, which should be something like your v4 application, so I'm guessing something really cool like mullet tracker. Description would be application plotting tweets and pictures of mullets on a world map. Because, you know, that'd be so fucking amazing for the Amsterdam 2015 mullet convention. Website should be your application homepage URL if you have one. If not, you can literally put any valid URL. Users may be able to get to that URL, but it's not very obvious. Finally, the callback URL is actually very important, and you must put a valid and secure URL. So it must start with HTTPS, the S being important here, obviously. It's also important because the users will see it straight after authorization process. So what you really should do, if you have some web space somewhere, is to create 2 HTML pages, one for your Twitter application homepage, which is the website field just above, and one as a successful login message, which the user will see straight after authorizing your app. I have created 2 generic pages, so I'm going to put them here. Now, tick yes, I agree to create your Twitter application. Now you're on your applications page, you can go to keys and access tokens, and that's where you'll find what we need, which is your application's consumer key and consumer secret. So copy those one by one from Twitter to v4 in the application credentials. Grab the secret as well, paste it. Okay, so that's all the data we need to copy from Twitter to v4 for the actual Evvvvil Tweet Engine to work, but there's still a couple of things we need to do in our Twitter application page. So first we need to go to settings, and we need to tick allow this application to be used to sign in with Twitter. Then in permissions you need to tick read and write if you want your application to also be able to post tweets. And there you have it. You gotta put your phone number in your Twitter account, so that's a drag. But I tell you what, mate, you remember that gym membership you got 2 years ago and you've only been twice to the gym? You gave them your fucking phone number. You know what I mean? So do it! Do it! Right, so now that you've gone in your Twitter account and you've put your mobile phone number in your account settings, you can go back and tick again, read and write, and update your settings, and this time it will grant you permission. You can refresh to see the difference. There you go. Also what we'll do, and this is more for debugging purpose, we'll generate some access token just for the account that's associated with this actual app. That obviously only works for the Twitter account that's associated with the app, but I'm going to show you after how to log in people, normal users, without them being devs. But this is for your own dev account to get some tokens so you can log in quicker effectively than having to do the user login, which I'm going to show you now. We've ticked create my access token, and there you go, you get your access token and secret. You might as well copy them into v4 straight away into here. There's your token and there's your secret, and that's all we need really from Twitter at the moment. Okay, so back in v4, when you actually start the engine, this browser window will be empty. That's normal, it's waiting for you to authorize, which we're going to do now. But anyway, let me just say, this engine might look a bit complicated, but it's very easy to use if you follow the steps 1, 2, 3, which we've actually already started doing. We've actually done step 1, enter your application credentials, dickhead. We put our consumer key secret from Twitter and even our dev token and secret. Now before moving on to step 2, there's 2 different ways to log in using this engine. You can log in as a dev using your dev token and secret that you generate in dev.twitter.com, But obviously, since you're building this application with the 2015 Amsterdam Mullet Convention, you want users to be able to log in to your application through their Twitter user without having a dev account or whatever. So we want to make it as easy as possible for users to log in, which is what I've done here. There's many different ways to do this, pin-based, callback URL, whatever. I've chosen what I think is the best method for v4. There's a little bit of v4 trickery here as well that makes it even easier for us. So anyway, let's move on to step 2, which is authorize, bitch. I'm very conscious to not have any sexism in this tutorial, so I shall be insulting everyone. Anyway, right click, authorize a Twitter user. The Twitter authorization window pops up straight away. It's basically being rendered like a browser within v4 using Quad with a HTML texture node, which has been made by Zeus, by the way. Big thanks to him, because he built it one that recognizes clicks and keyboard input, which is what we're using here. So any Twitter user can now use their login details to authorize your app. When you click authorize app, many things are going to happen actually. First, you're going to see your callback URL. Remember that callback URL thing that I told you about, which is this. You saw it for a few seconds and then I hide it. What happens is this callback URL comes with a token in its actual URL address. That verifier token is getting picked up here by the regular expression and then is passed back up to the Evvvvil Tweet logger node as a verifier code, and then it detects there's a change and it bangs to log you in straight away. So actually when you click authorize in your random window, it also logs you in automatically. So it's the simplest way for the users to log in basically. Now you obviously also get a status message, fuck yeah, logged in as whatever username they use on Twitter. This is the amount of searches you can do within this time, right? So it's basically 15 minutes. Another thing that the logger node does as it logs in is hide the quad containing the browser window, because effectively now is the time for your application to take over. You don't need that browser window, it was just for Twitter authorization. It does come back, however, if you log out, then it comes back so you can authorize again. Finally, after logging in, you get a boolean that tells you whether you logged in or not, which is actually what we use to hide the browser window, and it's also passed on to the other nodes to tell them you're logged in or not. Just so you know, there is no function running in the background that's telling you if you logged in or not, but that's why we've got a refresh login status that you could bang right here to check that quickly, and you could run an LFO and bang it every minute to check if you're logged in. But to be honest, the connection's really stable. You could leave it on for an hour and come back and still be connected. The last feature of the Evvvvil Tweet logger node is you can get coordinates according to a vague address anywhere in the world. So this is my ends in London, and as you can see here, it gives you the coordinates. Now you could try something else. Let's try something really relevant, like fucking Austria. You may think I'm mad, but look at that. You get the coordinates, copy it, paste it in your address bar, and there you go. There's a little village in Austria called fucking. You couldn't invent that shit, could you? Yeah, man. Fucking brilliant. Quick mention to log in as a dev. When you log in, you got to authorize, you got to put your login details. A faster way to log in would be to actually use this bit, but that can only log you in with the account associated with this app. It works. And that's why we generated some tokens on dev.twitter. And remember, if you change your permission settings or some kind of settings, you should really regenerate your tokens and also your consumer key and secret. Anyway, that's it for the Evvvvil Tweet logger node. The fun starts now as you're logged in. So let's fucking search. So searching is done with the Evvvvil Tweet search node right here. Before we go through step by step, we might as well do a quick search. So since I'm in London, search for hashtag London, right click here, do a quick search. As you can see, the results really nicely trickle through one by one. This isn't done in v4, actually it's due to a little damper of the data that I've put here. I'll get back to that later, but that's a really cool feature. So step 3, search for what? This is where you put your hashtag or word phrase, it could be whatever. Max number of tweets per search is not actually the number of tweets you get back, because you could, you know, right click here and ignore retweets or filter down using date search, or even you could be searching for a hashtag that's not that popular. So you can only get up to 100 results, they said. Fuck you, I said. You could get like 400. Look at that. Now it takes a while longer for the data to come back, but it does work. And by the way, this highlights the fact that, as you can see, the search is going, but I can still move up and down in v4. I can still act in v4 and do other thing. It doesn't hold v4 from running. This is because this whole engine uses multi-threading, which means it leaves some CPU thread for v4 to run and do its thing in the background. So, you know, it works really well, obviously, and it's really not obtrusive to v4 when you do a search or an action. Anyway, you work for 400. Let's go back to 50 and do another quick search just to reduce it. Types of results, step 5. This is very self-explanatory. Do you want tweets that are more recent or more popular or mixed? Very self-explanatory, obviously. Picture size is very important. It tells Twitter how big do you want the pictures to come back to you at. When you do a search, you can search for attached pictures or even a user picture URL. So this tells Twitter how big you want the image to be. Step 7, which is basically telling Twitter search what kind of tweet data you want to get back. And this is where you basically tick and say, I want to know for each result what time the tweet was created at, which country the tweet originates from, what's the language of all the tweets. And this is obviously for every single results, right? And you can actually get any pictures that's attached through Twitter. Through this tweet you can get the actual URL, therefore you can get a picture. Obviously step 7 leads to step 8, which is the same but for the user, or rather the author who sent the tweet. You can, so for every result you can get what is the name of the user who sent the tweet. Obviously you can get even when he created their user account, what language does the user speak, what's the location, any URL associated with the user profile. So what I've tried to do is pack as much as I could into these according to v4's data type. So I think I have covered as much as I can. So to summarize, for step 7 and 8 is very simple. Just tick which data you actually want, and then you'll obviously get that data passed in the output pins here, and it's up to you to do whatever you want with it. As you can see, I'm passing the text, but I'm also passing the user picture and a few other things. So step 9, right click here if you want to keep on storing results in a queue. Otherwise, every time you search, it'll clear all the results before repopulating them. Step 10, right click here if you want to ignore retweets. As you know, when you search, retweets can be frustrating if you're looking for original content. So just right click here to ignore all retweets. Step 11 is search since and until. Really cool feature, obviously timescale search. The way it works is if you leave any of those numbers 0, it will actually ignore since or until. But let's try from last month, so 2nd, 9th, 2014, and do another search. And what we'll do is we've ticked created at, so we do get the created at time right here. all the tweets we get are after that date. And we could also do until 5th. So this is like a 3-day search. There you go. Then step 12. Actually, let me just cancel those searches. So I put a 0 number, and then if I search again, then it will have ignored the search date. Geolocalized search is wicked, so we can grab the coordinates and just put latitude, longitude, and then this is a mile radius. So fucking Austria will put 100-mile radius and then do a search. There's not much tweeting going on around fucking Austria. I guess they're probably all fucking, aren't they? Let's raise the radius. Come on, Munich. There you go. I think that probably got Munich in it or something. So as you can see, it works anyway. That's geolocalized search. Very, very useful. Then we get to step 13, which is dampering of the data. So when your data comes in, it comes back from Twitter, it comes in a big bunch of data. And I've put a little bit of a time interval between each tweet data as it gets populated in C# so that it nicely trickles through. This is in milliseconds. 50 seems to be pretty good. You could raise it a bit to 100. Tweets, they will come in a little bit slower, one by one. It gives time as well for the pictures to load, so it's pretty cool. And finally, for your search, obviously you could right click here and clear all your results. Remember, put a 0 here. That will ignore geolocalized search. And yeah, it works really well. Tick here to let Twitter know which data you want to get back. Before we move on to the action node, quick mention of the debugger here, which basically logs every status message like this one that you get from the logger node, or the search node here, or even the action node. Everything that you get back as a status message is logged in the TTY renderer, which is hidden behind here, like right here. For a microsecond, the picture textures don't populate or something, so you get a little bit of an error message. But if you scroll back up, you can see you got searching every time it finds a tweet, and you know, any other kind of message you may have before when you logged in or whatever. It's all there in TTY renderer, so remember, if you're trying to debug what's going on, it's all in there. And finally, something I hadn't mentioned, when you do a search and you specifically want the pictures attached to the tweet, you also get the dimensions of the picture, which is really useful for you to then keep them proportional when you display them. So you'll get that right here. So there is no tick here, but there is an extra couple of output pins here. Right next to the tweet attached picture URL, you'll also get the width of the picture and the height of the picture. So obviously it's going to be 0 if there's no picture attached to the tweet. Anyway, that's it. So let's move on to the action node. So all the Twitter post actions are done by the Evvvvil Tweet Action node right here, and that's publish, favorite, retweet and destroy tweets. Now let's start with the publish action. When you create a tweet, obviously you want to send a text, so step 15 is where you can put your tweet text. Then step 16 is where you can attach a picture to your tweet. Next to step 17 is the spam robot machine gun mode. And when it is turned on, basically it allows your Twitter text and pictures to be a spread of values rather than just a unique value. So if it's off, then only the first line of your tweet text or picture spread will be taken. Obviously, if you spread your Twitter text to, let's say, 10 different texts, that means we'll be sending 10 different tweets. The problem is Twitter will not let you send 10 tweets at the same time. You get a warning or a captcha, or you could even get blacklisted. So we need to trick Twitter sniffing robots, and that's why we have a time interval between each machine gun action. Step 18 is where you can set the machine gun mode time interval in seconds. And basically, before doing the next action, like sending a tweet or doing a favorite, the Evvvvil Tweet action node will wait for your given interval plus a 20% random variation of that said interval. So, for example, if you put 3 seconds as the time interval, then you'll wait between 3 to 3.6 seconds before doing the next action. The time interval tricks Twitter by simulating human behavior, essentially by first pausing for a certain time, and then secondly by making sure that that time interval is always unique by adding a random value to it. So what should the interval be then, bro? Well, it could be as little as 1 second, and that could be okay for favoriting, but I would recommend never dropping below 2, maybe 3 seconds. Probably for replying even higher, like 5 seconds. Otherwise you will get a captcha, you will get a failure. If your action is to send tweets with a picture, then actually your time interval could be as low as 1 second, because actually it will take a few seconds to upload the image onto Twitter anyway. So now the publish action doesn't just create tweets with pictures or coordinates, it can also reply to tweets. And that's done by passing the tweet IDs from the search of the Evvvvil Tweet search node to the Evvvvil Tweet action node right here. You must obviously turn off ignore replies right here first. So then what we're gonna do a search for anyone tweeting about hashtag vvvv, which means that it could be you since you're watching this video. And that means that me and Pedro are hopefully gonna spam your ass. Now this is where I introduce you to my best friend after Pedro, called the tweet selection module. It simply has 2 sliders which select from which tweet to which tweet you want to act on in the results. And in our case that'd be to reply. But it's also used, as you'll see in a minute. Let's do this search anyway. You might be thinking, how come there's only 15 results, 15, when he's actually put 50, as in 50 maximum results? There could be a number of reasons for it. I've selected type of results, recent, first of all, so it's only giving me the recent results. Mix will probably give me more results. And also Twitter search API is quite elusive. It might only give you back result from the last 2 weeks. So you're thinking the date search would restrict the number of results you get, but actually you could actually possibly get more result if you search from like until today, from 2 months ago, you might actually get more result. I'm sorry, I'm not sure what is Twitter search's default timescale, because you see I asked Pedro to Google it, and do you know what he did? Pedro went on Google and bought a shipment, a fucking cargo of sex toys from Southeast Asia, then sold them at the Amsterdam Mullet Convention, 2014 obviously, to a retired couple from Aberdeen, Scotland, made £2,000 in the process, and then pretty much lost it all on virtual horses gambling online. And all he's got to show for it is a fake fucking leather jacket. You're a good man, Pedro, but you need to tackle those demons. Anyway, back to the tweet selection module. It's quite a nice module. Every time you do a search, it gets the number of results and it adapts the slider limit. So for example, we're gonna take from, so you can say take from this to this, so we'll take from 0 to 12. So what it means is we'll reply to every result from our last search from 0 to 12. And that actually takes us to step 19 as well now, which is the reply randomizer. And it only really does anything if you're replying to tweets. With the reply randomizer turned off, and since there's 4 tweet text here and 12 IDs to reply to, if you click publish, it will send all 4 tweets to all 12 IDs, sending them one by one with the machine gun interval, creating a total of 48 tweets. Okay, that's cool, you might want to do that, but be careful though, because Twitter seems to get more annoyed about multiple replies to the same user in a short interval. So this is what the reply randomizer is for. You turn it on, and now instead of sending all 4 tweets to all 12 reply IDs, it will pick one of the text randomly out of the 4 to send as a tweet to the first ID. Then it will do it again, it will pick another one randomly again and send that to the second ID and third ID and so on. So you'll only effectively send 1 tweet per reply ID, so a total of 12 tweets. But it's just a bit more of an organic behavior, and if a user checks your timeline and sees you've been sending the same bunch of tweets to 20 people, he's gonna know you're a robot. Once again, it's about making the plugin a little bit more cunning, subtle, and well, evil. Anyway, let's do this publish thing. We're sending a randomized reply to 12 results with the pictures. So I'll turn off ignore pictures, but I'll leave ignore coordinates, although actually it doesn't matter because pictures take priority over the coordinates. Problem is Twitter API or Tweet-Envy API, I'm not sure which one, is limited where you can only send a tweet with picture or coordinates. Now let me bring in the debugger so we can see what's going on, and then we'll reply to all these results. Send the first tweet and I sleep in for 3.3 seconds, and then send in the next tweet, sleeping again. Now we've sent 4, I'll just show you how you can actually right click here and cancel the whole thing. And as you can see, cancel, you're so in control, bro, or sis. So yeah, this is it. As you see, it works. It's published the tweet, and we're gonna try and get them from the search. We're gonna now search for the hashtag I put at the end of each tweet, which is hashtag Evvvvil Tweet Engine. Now we should be able to get them back in the search. And boom, there you go. It sent the tweets. I'm also gonna go and look on Twitter and show you quickly. So as you can see, here's the tweets I've sent from V4, so it works perfectly. Africa High Tech, great album. The Locust, Mental, great fucking EP. And this is just a great cover. Anyway, so it all works, and even adds the @Twitter handle before your tweet text when you reply. Now let's go back to V4 to see what outputs we get from the action node. So after each tweet is published, you get a bang, which is useful to start an animation. Then you also get here every single tweet IDs of every tweet or retweets that you've published, which is great to keep track of what you've done, and it's also useful to destroy tweets. Favoriting or retweeting tweets is easy. You just do a search first, and then you select which tweet you want to favorite or retweet here, and then make sure you untick ignore replies, which I'm actually going to change now to ignore search results, because it's so make sure you've unticked that, because if you do tick it and then try and favorite, you'll get insulted. To ID to favorite not recognized, dickhead. Of course, because actually this switch, this toggle controls the switch here, which passes nothing. So you gotta untick ignore search results, and now with the machine gun mode on and a time interval of about 2 to 3 seconds, that's all you need. Right click, and there you go. It will favorite all the tweets that you selected one by one with the time interval, giving you also the output here. And so boom, it works. So we'll cancel that, and I'll just mention to finish destroying tweets. So destroying tweets here, you can only destroy tweets or retweets that you have published, and this is where the published tweet ID's output, which is here, becomes really useful. And you basically just plug that through, I guess, frame delay node, and there you go. And then basically same thing with a machine gun mode, a time interval, bang, destroy tweets, and that'll destroy all the tweets that you've published. So that's it for the Evvvvil Tweet Action node, and that leads us to the final part of this tutorial, which is how to use the Evvvvil Tweet Engine in your application. So, building an example application that uses the Evvvvil Tweet Engine is actually something that's already been done, because when I do a search, you can see the results appear in this DirectX window, so there's already actually an application going. You might have noticed that it's that GUI patch right here below. It's quite a clever responsive patch that resizes and positions quads that contains tweet text and author pictures according to the number of tweets and the screen size. Anyway, as clever as it is, it's actually in the wrong place. To use the Evvvvil Tweet Engine in your application, you shouldn't start patching right under the Evvvvil Tweet Engine patch. You should actually start a new patch, and then you should open the Evvvvil Tweet Engine node in your patch as a subpatch. So open in patch, Evvvvil Tweet Engine, close the other one, and now as you can see, I've got my Evvvvil Tweet Engine now as a subpatch inside, and I should actually now start patching inside this main patch, not inside Evvvvil Tweet Engine patch. So hang on. Let me just save it. We'll put it in the same folder. We'll call it Evvvvil Tweet Engine example. Reload. Okay, as most of you know, the Evvvvil Tweet Engine node is now a subpatch, and the way it works is you can turn on or off a subpatch pin by having or not an IO box with its name label. So if we go inside the Evvvvil Tweet Engine patch, every time we have an output of any node that has its IO box labeled, like this one, that means that we'll get an output pin here. Now, what I want to do is remove my GUI patch here from inside the engine and paste it inside the main patch. But actually, because if you see, so there's quite a lot of things here that I need to pass as output pins before I can just copy and paste that into the main patch. So let me just do that quickly. To create an output pin, click on the node's output pin, then middle click somewhere in the patch, and then middle click again on the IO box to label it, and that's it. So essentially I've cut off my GUI patch from the Evvvvil Tweet Engine, and I've kept my output pins that I need to pass to my application here. I've also labeled my inputs here, mainly because, to be honest, with the amount of weed I smoke, there's no fucking way I'm gonna remember all these inputs. So anyway, I can now basically carefully take my whole GUI patch, cut it, see you later, and paste it back in the main patch like that, and they'll simply go and connect all the outputs to the inputs. And essentially that's it. It's up to you to turn on and off what you need from the engine. So if you also need, for example, a tweets created at data just go in the Tweet Engine patch. Make sure the created at search is ticked here. And make sure that the search node created out output pin has an IO box with a label here with a label. Then if you go back to your app, there you go, it's there. You could also reduce the amount of output pins here by deleting the IO boxes that you don't need. For example, this and that, and then you've reduced the amount of pins here. For things like search control, you should leave them in the Evvvvil Tweet Engine patch. And but you should still actually copy and paste them into your main patch, so you can control it from your main like that. And basically any controls or pins that you might need to use often, that you should probably then have in the main patch. For example, the search input text, copy that. The the picture input for the action node. We'll literally copy and paste these spreaded IO boxes and plug it back in. Obviously have your login, search and action bangs in the main patch, and yeah, your published text, whatever you want really, it's up to you. And yeah, that's kind of how your application should look really. You've got your inputs at the top like that, and your output start linked to your actual application here, and you basically leave the Evvvvil Tweet Engine node the fuck alone, because well, it's best left alone. Oh well, this is it for the Evvvvil Tweet Engine. Brothers, sisters and orangutan, have fun using it. Report any bugs on the contribution download page on the V4 website. You can also request new features or any new functionality that I might have forgotten or not included. If you found this tutorial and Twitter engine useful, and you're going to Node 15 in Germany, then buy me a fucking beer, innit? I'll be there, don't you worry, I'll be the loudest guy there. I'll be there with Pedro. We've already bought loads of... Actually, sorry, we've already got our plane tickets. We're actually, do you know what? Fuck it, we're so pumped up for it. Me and Pedro, we'll fucking walk there. We'll walk to Germany, to Node 15. We'll walk faster than German cars. Yeah. So massive thanks go to Evermammoth for building the original Twitter API plugin, which I got inspired from. Then massive thanks also goes to Jakub Wojciechowski and Lawrence Botley for all the C# help. Big up Mr. Vux as well for pointing out the autofuck build problem. But obviously, above anything, thanks to you for listening, watching. You know, keep it gritty. See you later, mate. Wicked.